Hey, welcome in. Well, what's most disturbing about this story is that you can see the, in real time self-censorship and cowardice, the fear of the woke boot that exists in academia, that exists amongst the people that are teaching young people, the people that are going to take over eventually. I'm sure the message is not lost. And the headline is, University of California medical prof apologizes for saying pregnant women. So does a University of California medical prof really believe that somebody other than a woman can get pregnant? Well, I have to assume that, how could you possibly be a professor of medicine and not recognize biological reality? This is the weird 1984 doublethink world that has invaded and apparently conquered every institution in the West. Anyway, University of California medical prof apologizes for saying pregnant women. So what happened with this obvious bigot, right? Saying pregnant women. Because that obviously excludes men from being pregnant, as well as pineapples and trees, cars, helicopters, all the things that can't get pregnant. So let's see. A professor of medicine within the University of California system apologized to his students for saying the word pregnant women instead of pregnant people in a medical classroom. So, in front of a bunch of students studying medicine. Now, of course, everybody knows reality. Everybody understands reality. But now apparently people have to play a game where they pretend not to understand what's real and what's not real. Because I guess it could be offensive to, lunatics? This would have been the subject of some satirical skit not that long ago. And people would have laughed because it was so ridiculous. Just let that sink in. That now this is actually a serious matter where a professor is so afraid of the woke cult that they have to apologize to the students, because I guess that's who's running the institutions now, but has to apologize to the students for just speaking reality. This is actually happening. We're actually living in a society where reality doesn't actually matter anymore. It's more important to pretend to believe things that you can't possibly believe, that no sane person would believe. So anyway, this professor realized that he'd inadvertently just spoken truth, as stated the obvious, and then realized this could be bad for my career, so I have to apologize. So he sent an email to students apologizing for implying that only women can give birth. Let me restate. This is a medical prof. This is a professor of medicine. A professor of medicine has to apologize for implying that only women can give birth. Yeah, no, everything's fine. Everything's fine. This is fine. So what was the groveling statement? Quote, I don't want you to think that I am in any way trying to imply anything. And if you can summon some generosity to forgive me, well, good luck with that. But anyway, it continues. I would really appreciate it. Again, I'm very sorry for that. It was certainly not my intention to offend anyone. The worst thing I can do as a human being is be offensive. Okay, I take issue with this. I'm not sure that the worst thing that a human being can do is to be offensive. I don't know, how about murdering somebody? Is that worse than hurting somebody's feelings? And again, this person's a professor, okay? Saying that, apologizing for saying that, or implying that only women can give birth, and also saying that the worst thing they can do is to be offensive. I disagree. I think there's much, much worse things you can do. In fact, I would say that being offensive is one of the least bad things you can do. As a matter of fact, I think that being offensive is not only not the worst thing that you can do as a human being, I think that it can serve a public good. I think some people need to be offended occasionally. Some people need to have their sensibilities offended occasionally. I think we used to call that satire, didn't we? Some people are just wrong, and it shouldn't really matter that much if it hurts their feelings to be told that. But anyway, and in any case, it only goes one way, doesn't it? It's actually fine to offend people as long as you're offending in the right direction. I mean, just watch CNN or MSNBC or any of the network news or read the New York Times or the Washington Post. Offense is actually just fine as long as you're offending the right people. But anyway, it continues. I said, when a woman is pregnant, which implies that only women can get pregnant. And as a professor of medicine, I most sincerely apologize to all of you. I mean, it's just the absurdity here. You know reality. You know who gets pregnant and who doesn't. And pretending that you don't so that you won't do the worst thing a human can do, which is offend somebody, is just simply play acting. But in any case, let's see. One UC student said that medical professors are often forced to apologize for their language because, quote, acknowledging biological sex can be considered transphobic. So, I don't know. Is reality transphobic? Is offending someone really the worst thing you can do as a human being? I don't know. Maybe lying is worse than being offensive. In fact, I think you could make a good case for that. Let's see. According to the same student, during an online forum, one student called a professor out for using terms such as male and female and began crying. Which bodes well for this person's future career as a doctor, huh? Yeah, if your doctor starts crying for any reason, okay, during a visit, get a new doctor. Yeah, and this isn't just in the States. I mean, this is everywhere now. This newfound woke medical language is not exclusive to medical schools in California. The National Health Service, the NHS in Britain, adopted a gender-inclusive language for its maternity services. And that's according to the BBC. Hospitals will now use the word chest feeding. I did a video on this, by the way, which you can check out. Chest feeding instead of breastfeeding, and birthing parent instead of pregnant woman. Because we've all lost our frickin' minds. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me out. If you just like to listen, there's the podcast, Radio Baloney. It's on pretty much every platform. If you look for it, you will find it. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.